Breaking news. They're coming for the kids. But we're coming for them! Sisters broken badges flashing in the night. Knock down doors, no warrant, no right. Take the children, tear the families apart. Hide behind protection while you rip out the heart. Files fabricated, lies on the stand. Judges in their pocket, money changing hands. Parents screaming, cameras never show. The real abuse happens when the CPS shows. Scott ever standing, fighting Tennessee DCS. Forced separation, they tore the family from his chest. Placed on a registry, no charges, no crime. Blount County DCS crossing every line. Evers versus the state, lawsuit in federal court. Exposing the corruption, tearing that system apart. Years of battle, justice delayed, but not denied. A father's resolve with truth on his side. No mercy, no justice, just power unchecked. We expose the corruption, put them under the rack. Gunning for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every day. Truth cuts like a blade. Gunning for CPS. Your empire's gonna fail. We fight for the families, we fight for the free. CPS, your time is over. You'll see. Another case buried, another life destroyed. Numbers manipulated, stories over deployed. They call it protection, we call it abduction. State-sponsored kidnapping, legal corruption. Parents labeled unfit for daring to speak. Question the system and they label you weak. We document every raid, every lie, every theft. The resistance is growing, no more silent regret. No mercy, no justice, just power unchecked. We expose the corruption, put them under the rack. Gunning for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every day. Truth cuts like a blade. Gunning for CPS. Your empire's gonna fade. We fight for the families, we fight for the free. CPS, your time is over. You'll see. You took the innocent. You destroyed the home. Oh, now the people are waking. And we're coming for your throne. No more silence. No more fear. The revolution starts right here. Gunning for CPS. We won't stop, we won't rest. Breaking news every single day. Gunning for CPS. Your kingdom's gonna break for every parent, for every child set free. CPS, we're gunning for thee. This is the podcast, Gunning for CPS, hosted by Scott Evers. Relentless in his fight, Evers versus Tennessee DCS. A father who refuses to yield, exposing every injustice, demanding accountability, reclaiming what was taken. The battle continues. Stay vigilant. The truth is our weapon. This is the reckoning. Blount County CPS. Your time has come! Ever's rising, shadow in the fight. Blount County CPS stealing children in the night. No warrant, no warning, they crossed every line. Took his child away, tried to bury the crime. Fabricated files, twisted every truth. Placed them on a registry with no proof. Federal court now watching every move they make. The system is shaking, the foundation starts to break. No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is coming, hear the battle cry. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers bringing the pain. Blount County CPS, your empire's in flames. The reckoning. Justice finally calls your name. For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay. There's hell to pay. Evers versus Blount lawsuit cutting deep, exposing corruption, secrets they can't keep. Years of separation, heart ripped from his chest. Yet he stands unbreakable, refusing to rest. No charges filed, but they branded him a threat. Now the court is watching, collecting their debt. Blount County, DC, yes, your days are numbered fast. The father's fight is real, this reckoning will last. No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is coming. Hear the battle cry. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers bringing the pain. Blount County CPS, your empire's in flames. The reckoning. Justice finally calls your name. For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay. There's hell to pay. You came for the innocent. You destroyed the home. Now the reckoning rises, and you stand alone. Alone, 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 alone. No mercy, no escape. The people are awake. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers leads the fight. Blount County CPS, vanishing from sight. The reckoning. Walls are crashing down tonight. For every parent watching, for every stolen child. The reckoning is here, and we're running wild. Gunner Evers, still standing strong. Blount County CPS. The reckoning has only just begun. Truth is the weapon. Justice will be gone.
Well, who are we going to piss off today? Welcome to Gunning for CPS. I'm your host, Gunner. I do apologize for last week. I had a reaction to a medication that was really dragging me down. Takes a couple weeks to flush out, but we are going to proceed with our show this week. It's been a busy week. There's been a lot of things going on. Let's clear one things up. That a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're not press, you're not this." Guess what? You know what that is? What's it say? Freelance journalist international, baby. That's right. There's the evidence. There's my press card for all those out there and everything else saying, no, it's not true. There's the evidence right there. 100%. So guys, to kick things off and everything else, it's been a busy week. We have got a ton that we have been working on doing. It's as far as me personally, we've got the Tennessee case. Everybody says, oh, you got to refile, you got to do this. No, there was some miscommunication, and it had to do with the exhibits, and there was stuff in there that had to deal with tampering with evidence. We wanted to make sure that we weren't going to do that. We'd rather the court come back and say, hey, we want redacted copies when it comes to this, and that. Once again, there was a motion in there to seal everything and a notice for the court clerk, so it was sealed. And it was sealed for that reason until we got the decision from the court, so it was unclear. And the conversations were had with the courts. And then, like I said, the magistrate issued the order, said, hey, refile. Well, okay, since you said refile, we went ahead and refiled everything, redacted everything, and then we added some more to it. We have been approved for electronic filing. So Monday I have to meet with the court clerk, which the court clerk's office, because of the issues before, I've actually been assigned somebody in the clerk's office. Great person. We're going to call her R, but it has been extremely helpful. And we're going to walk me through the PACER thing, make sure I'm actually truly connected, to make sure that those things are done properly and access to the courts under the ADA is actually given. So we're making sure that those things are in place. And when those come in, oh, that's okay. Thanks for the electronic filing. We have more to file. We're not going to put that on the record at first. But the bomb we're getting ready to drop on that and with a notice of an exhibit, and the exhibit itself is so damning. It shows from the case back in 2025 that you guys knew about, 3:25-CV-199, where there was retaliation. We are going to be presenting evidence of the retaliation by the state of Tennessee and flowing through into the state of Kentucky, where there's clear and convincing black and white information to prove, no, we were tampered with. That's why our filings didn't get done, on top of the issues we had with the court clerk's office, the electronic filing, where there was a judge's order that was given, but the clerk's office didn't follow through and reach out and say, what do we need to do? Now that is being rectified in this filing. So that is part of that filing, just to give you guys a case update. Second off, there's a couple other federal cases I had to file. There's another one that's getting ready to go out this week. Yeah, we're hitting them hard. We're hitting them broad. We're hitting them everywhere. We're going to hold people accountable. Why? Because we know our constitutional rights. We're figuring out the federal court system, and this is what scares them. And a lot of people say, well, you're doing this, you're doing that. Listen, there are certain things you can do and you can file to notify the court, notify the other parties of saying, here's the case law, here's this, here's your judicial canons, here's the constitutional canons. A lot of you guys that are picking up on this stuff, you know, when their case law is one thing, judicial canons are completely different. They settle the arguments with case law, where it's applied, where it's not. If there's ever a question, we go back to the constitutional canons that are in there. Those are mandatory that they must follow. And you can file those in the lower courts, even for the state courts, the state canons. Just keeping that in mind, that you can put that on notice of, basically, I know what your job is, and I'm going to hold you to it. But not just that. Oh, you're going to love this. Especially with serving them, which is something we're going to be putting these notices in our federal cases, but especially the Tennessee case, of also notifying the court. Your job is to protect me, my constitutional rights, as we the people. It's part of your job. It's part of the court's job. I'm going to remind you, not be rude, but be, hey, let's make sure that we're doing our due diligence and understand, I know it's your job. So if I find that there's an error, well, I'm going to point out that error. Why? Because it's, you know, within that particular notice, hey, I'll file for sanctions. It's just that simple. If I catch you, or the court catches you, because now there's two of us, this is where you use the courts to your advantage, because you acknowledge and you put this before the court of saying, hey, even the officers of the court are responsible to look out for me, not the state, another government entity. Your job is to protect me as well as me. So that's two sets of eyes that's going to be on the defendants as state actors to keep them in line, so to speak, or to, keep them where they're supposed to go. Well, as you guys know, we love to share some of these videos, and if you guys don't follow him, this guy's always hilarious. So to break this up, we love sharing this guy that does the the legalese. Okay. Love this guy. If you don't follow him, it explains a lot. Matter of fact, he's got a whole book on it, on legalese, of how to say certain things, but to do it in legalese so it looks this particular way, and it's not offensive to the court. Just watch and you'll see. Oh.
Legalese. Conduct yourself. I'd say, stop being a bitch in legalese. Conduct yourself with greater fortitude. Conduct yourself with greater fortitude. I'd say, stop being a bitch in legalese. Conduct yourself with greater fortitude.
So, conduct yourself with greater fortitude. Quit being a bitch. You can put that in your filings, and once again, they go, oh, okay. Once again, this is part of educating you, especially the state courts. The state courts can use the legalese. If you're in a constitutional court, such as you're filing in 1983, and the judge that you're before announced to the court, make it known to the court, go on the record for the court that this is a common law court. Why? Because it's dealing with the Constitution. It's the only court that has the power to make those decisions, because the Constitution was written in common law. Make that known to the court, and that we're not going to deal with the legalese stuff. We're going to go with common language. We're going to go with, to make sure that both, we the people understand, as well as the jury. That way they're not just addressing the court like they usually do in state courts with all this legalese of a conversation between, say, attorney and the judge. What the hell does that mean? And you guys know what I'm talking about when it comes down to that. But you guys are kind of quiet tonight. If you guys want to chime in where you're at, I think you can see if you can comment. Sometimes they were going through. Hopefully that's fixed. Make some comments. Say hello this evening. Would be great. We've got, like I said, just an up-to-date show. But let me show you something that is going on even here in the state of Tennessee. This is actually happened in connection with a lot of other stuff, but this is a previous caseworker that is testifying of what she was told to do, and the corruption in CPS of Tennessee. Well, why don't we just let her take, and we'll let her tell her story. There you go.
After 19, I was stripped out of my home, thrown on the DCS floor, and my home was closed in bad standing for speaking negatively about the Department of Children's Services. That child still does not have permanency. I became a case manager after that, and I was directly told to lie to the courts, to hide abuse that was happening to children. Zyvon was in over 50 placements over the course of 5 years. I had a 5-year-old disabled boy that was in 22 placements in less than 4 months. And I was directed not to contact the guardian ad litem. I was directed not to speak to the courts. I was told by my executive director if I was to speak in Judge Duffy's courtroom about what was transpiring with the other child that was also in the home with this child that was abused, then Network Development would strip their contract and they would get no more children placed in their continuum. I was therefore retaliated against, and I was blocked from working with children. I have a current SIU investigation sitting on my record because I reported, and I can't work with kids because of this. Because I actually stood my ground and said I will not be loyal to you. I will be loyal to the children that I serve. It is an ingrained issue, and it has gotten worse since 2022. I have never seen something so horrific in my life. And thank you.
There it is, guys. A previous caseworker that says, I was told to lie. I was told not to protect the children. I was told not to take and done this by my superiors. I was told not to go to the guardian ad litem to report these particular things. A child that was moved around, what did she say, like 10 or 20 times in so many months, to turn around and make sure that kid, that we couldn't report it because that was a facility, okay, a facility that turns around and says, if you report this, we're going to lose our contract with the state. And you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now, you've got you've got a huge issue. Well, now we can't take in. We can't report this. Hey, don't do your job and protect the system or protect this, even though children are, and they're admitting to this, being abused is what she's testifying about in the state of Tennessee, which is what we're exposing as well. This is not just the state of Tennessee. This is happening. I have talked with former CPS caseworkers, current CPS caseworkers that, listen, man, I need somebody to talk to. I need to blow the whistle. Once again, your press, you have the right to protect your sources. You're right. I absolutely do. So this is amazing that she's going before the state and actually admitting this is what's going on in your state, of the corruption and the mistreat of children. And they know about the abuse in the system. They're not correcting it. Instead, they're just like, what are they doing? Hey, don't report me this, that. Was there money offered? Was there bribes offered? Was this going on? I mean, if so, maybe not to this particular person, but, maybe the supervisor. Does this call for an investigation? Because this is a place that obviously knows they should be closed and lose their funding and close down because of what is happening. Now, understand too, this is also the place when they did the audit through the comptroller came in before the Senate subcommittee that brought in Margie Quinn, which is the director of Tennessee CPS or DCS, however you want to do it, realized there was $41 million missing. But now you've got a lady over here that these monies are going to, and let alone the missing monies. You ever notice the missing monies come right around about the time it's to have elections? Maybe they ought to look into that whether or not the state, which would be illegal as hell, investigate the fact that maybe a state agency is putting funds into people that are pro CPS to be elected. I believe there was another thing here in Blount County that somebody had exposed the possibility of, I believe his name was Jerome Moon. Once again, this is not verified. This is just something that had popped up as, we'll call it scuttlebutt, that I guess this person had tracked down to say, hey, you serve with the Tennessee legislator and you're trying to run for the mayor, but there's $100,000 you donated to yourself to run your mayoral campaign. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's a huge thing. Why isn't that being investigated? If that's true, these are the things that, once again, it's been brought up. Does this person have evidence? And if that person's watching today that has actually posted that here in Blount County, Tennessee, there are ways to escalate that to the election commission, as well as other commissions, to investigate that type of thing for fraud and whether or not it's legal to do that. Because, wow, that's crazy, man. To use those things, let alone, I mean, that's a hell of an advantage against other local, just, mom and pop or an average person trying to run for the local mayor of the county, rather than somebody that's got, hey, it'd be nice to have $100,000 budget for advertising and this and this and that. One of those things. And I want to do a quick shout out. Just yesterday, I was a guest on another podcast because of the Tennessee federal case, on the Watchdog Family Service podcast. I believe it's out of West Virginia, and it's just a phone. I was on the phone with the particular person for the while, and it's great to have some of that exposure, as well as other podcasts that have reached out and want to have me on there. And if you guys know of other podcasts that might want to have me as a guest to discuss this case, and then you say, well, what's the big deal about the Tennessee case? It's got a $685 billion price tag plus False Claims Act and Whistleblower Act on it. And the evidence that's in there hammers the hell out of them. You ain't getting out of this. As well as using another state to retaliate against what was my former co-plaintiff, that now I believe is going to come down to a thing of being a witness, is now a problem because it's so threatening. It's just like I've got to back off, which is understandable. But like I said, that's a huge thing. And so there's been a lot of things that have gone on. And once again, everybody has their breaking point with this stuff. You guys know, you've come down to it and this, that, where you just want this or that, especially a lot more. And this is why and I hate to tell you this, they do this strategically. They get the men out of the way, or the fathers out of the way with these particular type of cases, especially with CPS, because they know they'll fight. And they'll fight and they'll fight and they'll fight. The mothers, the mothers of the children tend to have this tendency to, they get them to a certain point and then they break and they just get to the point of, the most important thing to me is getting my children back. And I think they use this technique to beat down women knowing what they're going to do, because they've established and done studies on this. One, it's disgusting. Two, it should never happen. And that's why they do what's called the divide and conquer method. They're actually trained to do this in all 50 states. You go through, you see the same pattern. So to see that same pattern, you got to know there's training behind it. This is what we do. And as you saw the video before, this is what they're trained to do. This is what the supervisors, this is what the administration and this, that tells the people down below. This is what you will do. This is how we can't cut off our money. Greed. They could give a shit about child safety or the safety of children. It's about the money. It's always been about the money. And you guys out there know that. And I get, because we didn't have a show last week, we're down a little bit. And I know a lot of people will catch it later. Oh man, I missed the show. Or was he on again? Yeah, I'm doing the best I can with, once again, my medical condition. But we do our best to educate you as we go along the way, and why it's important for you to understand things. Now, a lot of tonight, once again, just because I'm slowly getting back to some things, we're going to do a lot of education, especially within a lot of videos. Well, one thing I want to give a shout out, and this is, and I'll share this with you guys. This is S. Chris Anders for state delegate. He's out of, little privacy there. Yeah. Guys, give me a break during the show too. I'm messaging me, especially on Facebook. That's why. So this guy is running for state delegate in West Virginia. Okay. Now they had a big thing with a gun buyback program. Guys, very pro Second Amendment, this and that. Now I want you to look at this stuff. Up in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, they were doing a gun buyback program. Okay. So we're going to go here and look at these particular things. And as you guys can see here, I'll make it just a little bit bigger here, because the comments, you're going to look at the pictures. Have a nice time. If you want to look at it, you know where he's at. Go look it up for yourself. Here they are, instead of taking and doing the gun buyback, where here, give you a $50 or $100 gift card. They show up with money and say, here, we'll give you good value, or what you're actually supposed to get for these weapons, and we're just going to add to our collection. And as you can see, here's a nice Marlin 22 with the coin set edition. Several of those. We've got revolvers. We've got this is them showing that, hey, we're doing a gun buyback. Basically across the way. Say, forget that. We'll give you cash. Don't have them destroyed. This is what we're all doing. There's a nylon 66 in there, and if you're a gun person, man, these are collectibles. These are history. These are gun history. But here they are out here, and I believe it was in the lot, once again, right next to that particular town, their volunteer fire department in the adjacent property. Once again, not connected with the fire department, but for the landmark for you people there locally, I'm sure you know about it, or in West Virginia. But these are people. What a huge Second Amendment, or a huge thing for our Constitution to stop it, of saying, you know what, instead of destroying these guns, we'll give you a fair price and we'll just add to our collection. And so there you go, guys. A huge shout out to them for standing up for the Second Amendment and our constitutional rights that not a lot of people take and do. Now, we're going to educate you, like I said, a little bit of it. Now, you guys have heard us talk before about warrants and what's needed and what's a proper warrant. And somebody, we've done this several times. We've had this conversation with you guys several times, but somebody else has brought this up and gone very detailed in it of what's needed to serve you with a proper warrant. Now, we've dealt with Article 3 judges, Article 1 judges. We've given you the special exception. Only Article 1 judges have to have special permission from Congress, okay? They can't, and that even includes not just, the warrants to come into the home and everything else, warrants in general, especially to get into your home under the Fourth Amendment. And you can Google that right there, and it will tell you what article judge is allowed to give a warrant to come into your home. It will tell you the legal definition of it and what is required. Can a family court judge give an order to CPS to enter your home? If they are not an Article 3 judge, they do not have the authority or the power to issue those. And if they do, it's a direct violation of their oath, and anything from it is considered fruit from a poisonous tree. But once again, we always tell you, argue that in the right court. What court would that be, Gunner? That would be the federal court under a 1983 question. And once again, it's a simple case. Hey, this judge that didn't have power gave power to CPS to come into my home. That state family court judge or civil court judge doesn't have the power. They have not been endowed with that power. Why? Because it's explicitly done. The only people that can give that permission is the federal court, because it's a Fourth Amendment issue. Yeah. How many of you guys have had that issue? Well, I had an order that they had to come into my home and do this and that. Fourth Amendment violation. Court order is not valid. Why? Judge didn't have the power or the jurisdiction. Excuse me. So let's get into this video that goes into it a little bit more detail with actual warrants. Pay attention here. Whoop. What happened here?
How about all warrants are fake? Know why? Because there's rules and procedures that need to be followed, and they break every last one of them. They keep cutting corners because they know that most people don't know the rules and the procedures of the courts, and so they keep getting away with the fraud. How about that? Yeah. They need a certificate of authority, they need a certificate of custody, and the warrant must have a court seal. And they all come lacking. Right. If you like this video.
So there it is, guys. It broke it down to you there very quick and simple. These are the things that are needed for an actual warrant that go in there. So those are the requirements, including wet ink. So this thing of, well, I got it on my tablet. No. You have to have a copy of the warrant, wet ink, original, to hand to me. With the court stamp, with the judge's seal, with their thing of authority saying that I have the power to issue this. How many of you guys have been out there that have been served warrants or anything, or even a court order to come through there that authority hasn't been given, certificate of authority, nothing in wet ink? Oh, there's no court seal on this. Boom, 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 boom. It's not valid. Let alone how many sheriff's offices or police departments are so uneducated on this that the CPS hands them something. Here, I got a warrant from the judge, or I got an order from the judge, and they say, but they're not trained, and they're not trained for a reason to commit the crime. But once again, ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking the law, nor is the consequences for breaking the law any type of excuse, because you're still going to get, once again, your immunity's gone. It's stripped. Now, when you, and this is one thing that we've learned through here, a lot of people say, oh, you got to get past the Younger doctrine. Oh, you got to get past Rooker versus Feldman, all this other stuff. You're right. When you file a certain way, but when you file under intricate fraud and constitutional rights violations and you keep it in that lane, you don't have to overcome those. And you need to make sure that you explain that in your complaint, that because we're dealing with intricate fraud, and that has to go in your filings. You can look at all the other cases that were successful and it's the same situation, same issue. How do you get past it? We're not going to deal with the states have these powers. I was given this under this particular amendment, and this is the states issue. No. Not when you're abusing your power to commit fraud, which is a crime. You're using and abusing the position of elected and appointed officials and actors to commit crimes, constitutional crimes and or fraud, which is a felony. That's everybody goes, well, how did you get your? That's how I filed my case. That's how much it sticks and how much it hurts, because I don't have to, they can't even make the argument because of that. They can try, but once again, there's another piece of paper in there with another notice that says, if you try, I'm going to file sanctions for obstruction of justice, because we're in a constitutional court. Now, hopefully they have cleared that sealed part and reissued it to where you guys can see some of these filings. But when you see these filings, you're going to go, holy crap. Look at the notices he filed. Look at this and this, including reminding the courts and anybody on the other side, their counsel and everything else, we're going to follow the Constitution. Why? Marbury versus Madison. You've got to deal with this case. You've got to, and you can see other case law and other things. We're going to follow the canons, the constitutional canons. When we have an issue where we have conflicting case law, we're going to hold the court and everybody else. And don't even bother putting in case law if it doesn't line up with the constitutional canons, because it's going to go through that analysis when they look at it. Oh, yeah. They're not just going to pass this through anything else. We've also held the court accountable. You also have a duty to protect my rights, not theirs. They don't have rights. Why? Because they're state actors. Uh-oh. Somebody done dropped a bomb of education on y'all. That's right. The court is not obligated to protect the state. The state has no rights. You have rights. The government doesn't. They have restraints, which is the Constitution. Huge difference. Makes for a whole different story. So now we're going to talk about, and I love this other guy that comes out here. Like I said, we're sharing a lot of videos. These are a lot of sources that you need to be adding to your watch list, whether it's on TikTok, Facebook feeds, whatever it may be, that. Seek these people out that have good, solid education besides, what you're getting here on our show. So you can do your own independent research, because why? We only have we meet together once a week for about an hour, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on how the show goes or how I'm feeling, so to speak, too, to understand these things. Because you got to remember, I'm here to abolish CPS. There's no need for them. They say, he's one of those. No, we need reform. It's not worked in Arizona. This will be like I said, they've done it 2-3 times now, Arizona, and it came back to the same poisonous thing it did before. There's no fixing CPS. Put them back where they belong, unweaponize them in every state, and let the duty fall where it is. Because if it's truly child abuse, neglect, anything like that, if it's truly that, you'll have enough evidence and meet the standard to do and use the criminal code. See, when they used it in Tennessee, Yeah, they violated the state constitution, Article 114, that specifically says the Tennessee Constitution. You can go to your own constitution, you can quote it too, especially if they used a criminal code in there. No person shall be made to be held, held for a crime unless they've been presented, indicted, or impeached. I was never any of those. So why are you putting a criminal code in a civil case when no criminal adjudication has even occurred, no presentment before a grand jury, no indictment before a grand jury, and obviously I haven't been impeached because I'm not serving in a public thing. What are you going to do? I mean, this is a huge thing when we know how the game's played and how they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's huge. And when you call them out like that, and let alone, oh no, we didn't just get the local courts. We got the appellate courts. Why? Gunnar, why did you get the appellate? How did you get the appellate courts? It's filed in the federal case too. Oh no, the federal courts kicked it out. Oh, you're past the 30 days. Did you not even read it? Did you not even read the Rule 60 that, or, and I just did it under the 24-7-123. Hey, the law's changed. Did you not realize? And what does that mean? That means the Tennessee Appellate Court is not following what legislation of Tennessee has passed. 24-7-123 specifically deals with the rules of evidence, especially for a forensic interview. For a forensic interview in the state of Tennessee to be entered on record and used, which was only thing they had that was fabricated on top of it, you got to have cross-examination. Well, guess what? Both before the magistrate and the judge, yes, the same magistrate and judge that Jessica Saxton had, there's no cross-examination whatsoever. Matter of fact, when the attorney I had at the time, when we went to civil court for the appeal, the judge that we saw, yes, Harrington, by name, right on the record, my attorney goes up and says, Your Honor, is the child going to be present for cross-examination? The response from Harrington was this: if she's not on your witness list, then no, she's not going to be here. You just violated Tennessee codes and statutes, code 24-7-123. When the judge specifically and explicitly blocked cross-examination, you violated the rules of evidence, meaning the one key piece that they leaned all over that was fabricated, influenced, and everything else and illegally obtained could have never been used. In other words, it should have been thrown out. Case dismissed. We're done. We're over with. Y'all screwed up. But once again, this is where the judge and the magistrate both co-conspired to violate their oaths, not follow the codes, not follow their due diligence, showing that there was a Fourth Amendment violation from the very beginning, which means fruit from a poisonous tree should have applied immediately for an immediate dismissal. Ignored all of it. This is what they do to people, though. This is the norm, not just in Tennessee, but across all 50 states, because this is a criminal terrorist organization. Yes, I said terrorist organization, domestic terrorist organization. And yes, those words are in our filing, terrorism, because it meets the federal definition, and we gave the evidence to support it. So yes, we can use it. Uh-oh. That's why there's that big dollar thing to shut them down. Now you can't get insurance. Now all your people are going to, now this is going to call for a huge federal investigation across the state on multi-different levels to see how bad this goes. Because if it's done here and they're state people, that means everything across the state, all the state employees, all the state CPS workers, all the supervisors, investigators, have all been trained the same way. across the board. Well, here, how are you going to prove this? I don't have to really prove it. It's right there in their client's right handbook that literally the CPS worker from Blount County, Tennessee, handed Sharon. Yeah. Then, well, I had the right to come in. I had to do this at no White versus Pierce County. She didn't own the house. I did. Premarital asset. I did. Same thing applies to this getting of the Fourth Amendment, getting this warrant. Why it's so intricate, which is why Pierce versus White County, that we've told you about several times, is so important. Say you live in an apartment complex and say Uncle Bob owns it, right? He owns 12 units. Well, CPS comes around, cops come around, this and that, and they want to come in. They want to come in. So unless they have probable cause that a crime is actually happening, in other words, they see it, they have to see it firsthand before they do anything, or have the probable cause to engage or bypass that warrant process, which is very difficult to do with following all the case laws. Then a warrant was mandatory. Why? Because you just can't go in, or a matter of fact, the people in the apartment complexes, and CPS workers should know this, can't enter, even if the person gives them permission. Why? It's not their property. Uh-oh. That's right. Homesteader Act. People have the right that own it and lease or rent or anything else still retain Fourth Amendment protection of things they own. That's why it's mandatory to go get the warrant. And if they'd follow this, they'd never get the damn warrant, because they'd have to go to an Article 3 judge and say, this is our probable cause to get into the home, or this is what we're seeing, or this or that. Not, hey, we got an anonymous report. They'll laugh their asses off at you and kick you out. Try again, go away. This is why they show up so many times with false warrants. And this, and people said, hey, did you, they showed me a piece of paper. Did you get a copy of it? Nope. They broke the law, because they have to physically give you a wet ink copy with all those things that in the previous video that said is required that they got to serve you with. That's a big, big difference, guys. But let's get into, like I said, with some of these other things, here, let's talk about Constitution and the supreme law of the land and why it's so important. Well, nobody follows it, or this is that. You got to put it on paper that they're not, and document it every step of the way, not speak about it in court. Get the paper filings in, guys. Document in those courts. So you guys have got to pay attention to what you're doing and make sure this stuff is done and done right. Document it. Why? Because when you document it, you can turn around and say, hey, this was filed in the court to where the judge was required to read this or do this, that once again, they didn't do. They refused to do. Now you've got jail. Why? Because it's documented. Now you can't say, I didn't know, judge or magistrate. Why? It was filed. But check this next video. And if you don't follow this guy, follow him on Facebook, Reels, TikTok, this and that. Great source with a lot of constitutional things. But let's take some time together and watch this video. Oh, we are having sound issues. Let's see. Sometimes it has to restart. Here we go.
Not the opinions about the Constitution from anyone.
Try again.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land, not the opinions about the Constitution from anyone in the federal government. Otherwise, as Thomas Jefferson warned, that would make the entire Constitution meaningless. He said the government created by this compact was not made the exclusive or final judge of the extent of the powers delegated to itself, since that would have made its discretion, and not the Constitution, the measure of its powers.
What he's referring to there is constitutional canons. That's right. You have to notify the court that you're aware of constitutional canons and that these are the requirements of anyone in government that must follow, whether they're elected, appointed, or official or an actor. You got to notify them straight up. Hey, man, are you following constitutional canons? You want to blow a CPS worker? Do you realize you're violating constitutional canons right now and you're getting ready to commit felonies? And you're recorded. Uh-oh. Did we just drop that bomb for you guys to use when you're going into the courts or dealing with CPS or these meetings and these case laws and all these other things and these case plans and everything else? And tell them that you're aware of contract law and that you have to do a full disclosure before I sign anything. And that if you sign this and then you start doing stuff here, I need to know the parameters of your contract. You have every right to ask for that. Well, but no, I'm not going to contract with you. You need to give me full disclosure. That includes, are you going to try and TPR me if I don't follow these? You need to lay it all out, because if not, you're in violation of contract law, and record the hell out of them when you take and you confront them. Hey, are you following constitutional canons with your policies and procedures and everything else you do? Because right now I feel like my rights are being violated. You realize it's the requirement of you to know them, not me, and to you to exercise them and protect us. Why? You're a state or federal government agent. You're a manufacturer required to protect my constitutional rights because you're elected and appointed or you work for the state. So working for the state may have great benefits. Well, I get great pay. I get this, I get that. But you half-ass your job because you need it. You should be studying, part of your training should be judicial canons. Why? So we don't break them. Guess you missed that training. Guess that's going to suck. But I digress. And I'm sure you guys do too. Yeah, these are requirements for judges, magistrates. We have judicial canons, both state and federal. You got to follow those. Rules of civil procedure. During the course of your court and everything else for your state court, go look those up. See where you were offended. Then you can quote those in your filings. Hey, you violated the rules of civil procedure. Family court is a division of civil. Uh-oh. Guess you didn't like finding that out, did you? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Told you we were going to go after them. Told you we were going to take and hammer them to you. Told you we were going to find a way to abolish CPS. Well, told you a long time ago.
I'm going to pull the whole thing down. I'm going to bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's got to be biblical.
If anything, man of my word. And sometimes that is not always apparent to some people. But there are things that I have given my word to. Yeah, I will definitely follow through with them. One of them being just that particular thing. I look to burn it the hell down across the nation. Why? There's a constitutional question in there also. What do you mean, Gunner? What's that mean? It means I can go into my case if I have a constitutional question and the court decides to do it, or the court can seal it and send it up there to the Chief Justice. Hey, I need you to answer this question because I ain't touching it with a 10-foot pole. Then that question gets answered. That constitutional question being answered by the courts is automatically applicable to all 50 states. So if they rule that the family courts are adjudicating cases that they don't have the jurisdiction to do under Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2, what does that mean? Every case against people where it's CPS on the other side is null and void. What does that mean? File appropriately, go get your kids, and then start filing your asses off those federal lawsuits using the answer to that constitutional question in the brand new filing. That's right, the new filing number's out 3 colon 26 CV 189. That's right, we retained it. It's official, it's filed. And by the way, we got the refiling done, and like we said, and we added a few extra. We've even got a few more that we're going to do with electronic filing that's going to make them go, we're in deep trouble because, yeah, I got you. Oh, yeah, I got you, Blount County. I got you at CPS. I got you, state CPS. I've got everybody that's in that filing. It's over. Careers are going to end. We'll see what the Constitution, as Carl Miller says, that if a judge or magistrate violates their oath, Constitution's very clear. They're to be brought to the edge of the town and hung till death, and stay there for so many days. That's not my words. That's the Constitution. I'm going into a constitutional court. Do you think I'm not going to demand? Oh, wait, I did file something to have it turned over for prosecution and sanctions and oh yes, all that's coming too. Yeah, it's clear and convincing here. I want criminal charges, and I want the full extent of the Constitution to be activated, including those that violated their oath. We're going to follow the Constitution, and it's pretty clear. There was no do this, do this, do that. It says clearly taken out to here and hung, per Carl Miller. Now imagine what that's going to do to scare and put in check, which they should be, every judge and magistrate across the state of Tennessee, as well as all of the United States. Oh, we're in trouble. Why? They're hanging people. Why? The Constitution says so. If you're a judge or magistrate, it's very severe when you violate your oath, let alone you violate the Constitution. It's not a joke, and we don't take it lightly. It's an act of treason. Those are not my words. Let's be clear. Not only did Carl Miller say it, but you can go into the Constitution, the articles, the whole 9 yards, as well as the federal code. It's clear. It says what it says. And it says we're also mandated to follow that. Guys, the reckoning's here in 2026. It's no joke. We're here to tear this stuff down. This is what we're about. This is what we've been about from the beginning. We've got stuff to show retaliation. We've got stuff to show that the court clerk failed to lock us out of electronic filings back in 2025. All of that is now in the 2026. I believe it's like 600 or 700 pages that were filed. We didn't play around. We didn't get a chance last time. Because why? We had too much stuff going on top of my health and everything, which under the ADA slows a few things down. But guys, we're doing the best we can, and give us a little patience. But guys, I'm proud of you guys out there that are out there supporting us, spreading the word, sharing these videos. Even if you missed this show, you can share this on YouTube, tag it. Hey, go back and watch the show from last night, man. You guys got to see what's going on. I don't care if you share it to politicians, to CPS workers, to directors. I don't give a crap. Just understand this. We're coming. Matter of fact, we're going to close out the show that we have a brand new song. We played it a little bit earlier in the beginning. But guys, check this out as we close out the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll make sure that we see you next week. You may see some of the backdrop different because I believe we're going to get like a little studio and stuff like that set up, because right now, as you can tell, I'm kind of in the common room here, but we're going to get this into a little bit more quieter place and get a little bit more privacy. That way, things aren't going crazy, or like I said, I've got dogs and stuff here to where they just make a racket sometimes. Give us a little bit more privacy and a little bit more respect. Let's just, we're growing. Like I said, our numbers are going up through the damn roof. But guys, I'm going to leave you today with a brand new song, The Reckoning 2026. You guys have a great week. I'll see you next week. And don't forget to piss somebody off this week with the knowledge and education that you've had here. And as your independent studies, as you go to build your own case or understand your own case, what's happening to you, hopefully moving forward to a pro se or even to the point of sue juris in your filings. Have a great week, guys.
This is the reckoning. Blount County CPS.
Your time has come!
Gunner Evers rising, shadow in the fight. Blount County CPS stealing children in the night. No warrant, no warning, they crossed every line. Took his child away, tried to bury the crime.
Fabricated files, twisted every truth. Placed them on a registry with no proof.
Federal court now watching every move they make.
The system is shaken, the foundation starts to break.
No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is
Coming here, the battle cry. This is the reckoning.
Gunner Evers bringing the pain.
Blount County CPS. Your empire's in flames. The reckoning.
Justice finally calls your name.
For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay.
There's hell to pay.
Evers versus Blount lawsuit cutting deep, exposing corruption, secrets they can't keep. Years of separation, heart ripped from his chest. Yet he stands unbreakable, refusing to rest. No charges filed, but they branded him a threat. Now the court is watching, collecting their debt. Blount County, DCS, your days are numbered fast. The father's fight is real, this reckoning will last.
No more hiding, no more lies. The truth is coming.
Hear the battle cry. This is the reckoning.
Gunner Evers bringing the pain.
Blount County CPS. Your empire's in flames. The reckoning.
Justice finally calls your name.
For every family broken, for every child torn away. The reckoning is here. There's hell to pay.
There's hell to pay. You came for the innocent. You destroyed the home. Now the reckoning rises, and you stand alone. Alone, 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 alone.
No mercy. No escape. The people are awake. This is the reckoning. Gunner Evers leads the fight. Blount County CPS. Vanishing from sight. The reckoning. The walls are crashing down tonight. For every parent watching. For every stolen child. The reckoning is here. And we're running wild.
Gunner Evers, still standing strong. Blount County CPS. The reckoning has only just begun. Truth is the weapon.
Justice will be